Okay, so the first thing, in December, these are minutes of December, we had already closed on Lot B, Old West Warren Road in November. So I think the first thing wasn't that, because you talk about Greg Huckman, wetland scientist, and he is from, is Greg yours?
Yes.
Okay, so it was, that must be Cutler Road, as opposed to Old West Warren Road.
Yeah, Lot A and B is.
Okay, this is pretty huge. Right. And there's not Lot A and B on Cutler Road, there is 4 and 3 and 4, and then sometimes it's called 7 and 8.
Well, the assessor parcels are map 2, 7, and 8.
Oh, okay, all right, so that's what it was, because there was like, there was the cover letter that you said referenced 7 and 8.
Yes.
As
the assessor
opposed to
parcels.
3 and 4,
Yeah.
so it didn't, you know, so it doesn't, it's confusing.
Sorry.
Confusing.
How you doing?
All right.
Pedro coming tonight? You don't wanna go by yourself again? Nick, you have a pen, right? Yeah. Guess I'll give you a pen to everybody else. Thank you.
Who do we have first today?
Today,
So on the agenda.
and then Cutler.
Oh. Crap, that's right. What time do we have Cutler?
7:30.
All right, well, we have
We can
things
get
to do
everything
then.
else done first.
Yeah, exactly. Reed Street's not coming today at 7:15. I'll just tell you that now. We'll open and postpone it because they needed to survey something and they didn't. So we're just gonna push it off until the next, in 2 weeks, essentially. So they have.
You had some comments about Reed Street, all right? No? No?
Well, you know, when we
It's next
open
time.
it, you can say your comments before we close it, if you'd like.
I'm more concerned than that.
Okay. It's, I know, it's the same neighborhood. For test pits on 777 Quay Hill? Oh, for the wetland area, okay. The wetland replication area. Okay. They didn't do them.
They did.
No, they didn't do them. These guys did.
Yeah, these guys did.
Right, 777
777
didn't, yeah, they didn't do anything.
No.
Will you make a note that we need to ratify the certificate of compliance that we issued for 915 Southbridge Road? We didn't do that.
The water's going down.
No, it's not cleaned out today. I have a motion. Is everyone done? Actually, I have one addition I'd like you to add, just for clarification. The second page, under 777 Coy Hill, we have test pits were requested to be done on site in the wetland replication area, if you could add that. It is,
Test pits on wetland.
test pits were requested, so here's the paragraph right here.
Yep.
To be done in the wetland replication area.
Okay.
Any other changes, modifications? Can I have a motion to accept the minutes as modified?
Make a motion to accept the minutes from December 12th as modified.
All in favor?
All right, I have to abstain.
Okay. Okay, I am going to open up the public hearing for Reed Street. And are there any comments, questions in the audience? They're not here, they're asking to continue the hearing until the next meeting, which I believe is the 13th, February 13th.
Yes.
And we'll put them on at 7:15.
Okay.
Okay, can I have a motion to continue Reed Street public hearing to 7:15 on the 13th of February?
Motion to continue hearing to February 13th. 7:30, 7:15.
7:15. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay, so we have, how about, do you have bills?
Yes.
We can,
One of the bills is not ours, I don't believe, but Kathy said to give it to you because it came to us, but it was for the other situation.
oh, so,
Advertisement,
okay,
it came to
so,
us,
how could she,
but she didn't know if it was if it was ours or.
no, it's
Oh,
hers,
okay.
it's totally planning board. The planning board needs to pay this.
Okay.
So I don't know how to do that.
She'll just have to bring it to her meeting probably. Does she have a meeting Monday, do you know?
Yes, they have a meeting,
Because I
but,
have to come in Monday anyways to get this stuff back to the office, so I can give it to her Monday so they can do their thing with it.
right, okay, that's good. I'm not really sure, or the other thing is that we can pay it and they can transfer money. I don't know the best way. This is not my forte whatsoever, so somebody,
Do you want me to talk to Dawn?
talk to Dawn, talk to Madeline.
Madeline.
This is really a Madeline thing, not Dawn. Yes, Madeline,
All right.
yes. And if you, Kathy will know what to do and how to do this, and if she doesn't, ask
All right.
somebody.
She said bring it in, show it to you, but she was pretty sure it was hers, but where it was addressed to us, she didn't want to take it. So that's why it's here.
Okay, yeah,
Just
so
to
we
clear it
can
through.
pay it, well, it can wait 2 weeks, right? Can it wait 2 weeks? All right, so figure that out, figure out if it's better for them to pay it directly, or do we pay it and they transfer money? You see, there's two options there, so it's one of the two.
So more Madeline than Dawn.
Definitely,
Definitely not.
Okay.
definitely.
She's the accountant side.
Yeah, she'll tell you which one she prefers to do, and that's fine. Just
Okay.
go with it, she knows.
Let me mark that down.
Okay, GZA. Is this the only?
That's the only one that came in.
Okay, so this one we're postponing. And then what about, okay. Can I have a motion to pay and ratify the payment for GZA Environmental for $2,800?
Make a motion to ratify payroll for GZA, amount of $2,800.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Two more, and then can I see the payroll? That might be. Okay, can I have, motion for,
Motion to ratify payroll for December 15th, 2018, $149.74. December 22nd, $133.10. January 5th, $119.79. January 12th, $106.48. And January 19th, $106.48.
okay, second,
Second.
all in favor?
All right.
We'll send those back and we'll sign these.
Is all set?
Yeah, those were. And send down here. Otto can get. Oh, I don't need that one there. Is that everything?
That's it.
All right. Okay, so what do we have? All right, we have a certificate of compliance request for Southbridge Road. Which I haven't looked at.
Is this one we did?
Nope, it's another applicant. Seymour Ellie Holmes. You know, the thing is that these things don't have dates. Isn't that crazy? Oh, no, never mind. 2005. I was on the commission at the time.
Definitely. They're in Southwood Road now.
Plan of on-site sewage disposal system. So,
It's just a septic.
septic
repair.
system.
I don't know why there's nothing for us to sign up on that anyway.
Well, it would be, because if it was done in buffer or the wetland, we have to really make sure that it's
Yeah.
stabilized. Here we go. Hey, look at that. Any idea?
Pretty
1,
neat
2,
down there.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses in a row on Southbridge.
Must be the bad corner.
North
Yeah.
is going towards town? Is that north?
North is
Yep.
going to town.
Okay. And it's the first house, because you know those tall, funny houses on the, going into town on the left?
On the corner.
On the corner, down
Yeah.
by the fruit farm.
By the what?
Fruit farm,
On Southbridge Road?
that's the fruit farm.
Fruit farm.
Fruit,
What's the
F-R-E-W.
fruit?
That's the name.
Oh.
Bed and breakfast.
Oh, by the bed and breakfast, that, but, are there
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses there? They're
Probably
like tall.
All the way down.
Yeah, it could be.
I only thought there were 5. All right, so maybe that's where that is. And what do we have? We have a septic here. 100. Oh, here's the wetland flag. All right, so it's in the outer 50. It's like barely. Okay. So we just need to make sure it's stabilized.
Don't go tomorrow.
Huh?
Don't go tomorrow.
Well, the snow is still there.
I don't think so.
I still have snow in my yard.
Well, that's because you're supposed to pile it there.
No, I know, right? That's funny.
I was gonna take a picture of the water and send it to you.
MACC conference. You going?
Sure.
It's on the March 2nd. Otto? You're not, I know you don't do that. Okay.
Saturday,
It's a Saturday.
my mother's birthday party.
Ooh, maybe we should go to your house and have a
Yeah.
cake.
It's a big one, 91.
Wow, that is awesome. All right, so we need to go. Are you gonna go?
Apparently.
Okay. Will you sign us up?
Sure will.
We have to,
Just 3 of you?
yeah, so we have to check the ones that we wanna do. Are you done with your,
This will do it, I think.
do you know which ones that you took and that you didn't take?
I don't remember which ones I've taken.
Do we
I
have,
looked at the list, I
You
could
want
probably
to
check off
see the
most
list
of them.
and see it.
Yeah.
all right, so here's the fundamentals.
That was just the numbers.
Right, it doesn't say what it is?
The workshop, Series A, Series B, Fundamentals, Unit 201.
I know that Rachel kept track of it somewhere.
Yeah.
Rachel kept track of what we all took.
All right, so I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, so Philip needs to know
So
what he's
that's
supposed to
through
take.
the-
Oh,
Okay.
you got the list there?
This, oh. I have a list of the series,
Okay.
like the ones that we would take. Oh, fundamentals, sorry, getting home before midnight?
Ooh, I like that
Yeah, I
one.
think that's.
Getting home before midnight, that's a good
Is there
one.
only
Maybe,
4?
are you sure you don't wanna go?
Get too many good ideas.
Effective erosion and sediment control.
Yes, on that one.
You have done that one. So have you done getting home before midnight?
I believe so.
Oh.
Is there only 4 fundamentals?
So you get 2. You get 9:45 to 12, so you get one of those, and the other one is, so you can take classes as long as it doesn't bump into 1:30, so you can do A and B in the morning. And then, if you wanna do that, or you can just show up for these classes. Stormwater requirements for wetland protection,
I think I've done that one.
and then wetland buffer zone guidebook.
I do not recall that one.
All right. That will be Philip. But check to see if
Yeah, if you can find that.
if
to
you could
confirm.
find what he's done. I don't know how else you could, MACC would know too. That's the other thing, you might just call them
Okay.
with Philip's name and they would have his
This will be my
information.
4th year, so
Already?
already.
All right, this is no for us. Reviewing wetland mitigation plans.
Signing up.
Protecting resource areas, wildlife habitat along electric transmissions rights of way.
Okay, pick up.
We did that one already. Protecting vernal pools. Prioritizing land conservation. We're lucky to actually get our work done. Hands-on plant ID. Green infrastructure goes mainstream. benefits and applications. Climate resilience and MVP, planning, funding, implementation. That's what we get for one section. All right. Still have a couple minutes. What else do we have on here? We can take a look at this a little bit. Letters.
Now, on the annual report, is this something you did, or is this something Rachel did?
Well, Rachel used to keep track of stuff for us, but that required us to actually, so she knew more about when we were going out, because she coordinated a lot of that stuff for us, and that sort of fell through the cracks, so now I'm doing it. So I have to get to you with a lot of that information.
Because Kathy said this has to be done like by March or something.
Yeah, so send me a copy electronically, and then between.
Of the 2017 report?
Yeah.
All right, you can also take this one, because I just printed this off.
Okay.
I do know where that is in the computer, so I can electronically send you that.
Sorry, because then I can take this update, you know, you can probably find the number of notices of intents.
Well, that's what she was telling me today, where to find stuff.
Okay.
Go back through the minutes. She was showing me all that today. Kathy was, because
Right,
Rachel's
but you
out.
have to see the new ones, like just the new ones, not
Mhm.
any, you know, subsequent. So it's gotta be,
Well, that's what she said, start pulling the minutes and move it, you know, to
Yeah.
go through 'em. So she was trying to get me to do that today. That's what we were
Right.
kind of working on. So you
and
want
then
the
for each,
2017.
and then enforcement orders. We had a couple, right? Oh my gosh, over 12 site inspections, just for that one Coy Hill thing, it was 30. Citizens' complaints, concerns, that would be anytime you get a call, if there's any way to document it, or I can't even remember how many people would call. If you ever got a phone call, if somebody said, can you check? You got a few.
You had a few.
I got a few. Oh, Tim will add his little section of Lucy Stone.
So does Tim do his own?
He does his own, we just tack it on.
Do you want me to contact Tim then?
Yeah, tell him to keep it brief. It doesn't have to be a tone.
So, you know, report update.
Yeah. Okay.
It's laid up, so he's got plenty of time to write.
For 2018. Is it best to call him or email him?
Email him. Okay, we are going to open Cutler Road. Oh. Are we doing lot 3?
Sure, we'll start with lot 3. Kind of explain the letter and kind of go over all that.
Explain the changes you made to get out of jurisdiction. It will be fast.
For the record, Nick Fasandola, Level Design Group. With me is the applicant's representative, Pedro Rodriguez. Since our last meeting, we've reconfigured the layout of the solar array to comply with the current bylaw. So we moved those panels to be 100 feet off of our property line. So in doing so, we took advantage of this redesign time to pull everything outside of the commission's jurisdictional area. We pushed this whole site about 60 feet this way. You can kind of see up in this corner where the driveway used to be straight, now it kicks in to the left up top. So we pushed everything over this way, reconfigured our panels, and regraded this detention basin here. Shifted this one over a tiny bit to the my right in this direction. Slid this one over a little bit further in that direction. Doing so, we incorporated some of the items we talked about design-wise at our last meeting. So we have a riprap swale graded coming all the way down this side of the driveway like we talked about. Riprap along the edge of the detention basin, right up in front here, as we spoke about. Same thing here. I kind of defined where the swales are going to be that run to each basin. So this is going to be a riprap swale. This is going to be a grass swale. It's a little bit less steep than this large slope coming down through here. This is also a grass swale going this way to this basin, coming down to that basin. And we are right up against the edge of the 100-foot buffer zone, but all the grading for the basin looks, it seems to work out where we are outside of the jurisdictional area.
But your water is, well, you've got like, what is this? What is this? Oh, 160. All right.
Yeah.
What page?
There's a little bit more of a blow up if you go, yeah. It's
Yeah.
a kind of,
Oh, here we go.
yeah, that's a 40 scale. So our discharges, yeah, they're still going down towards the, to the BVW buffer.
So the overflow is close, but the other two have about 50 feet.
Correct, yeah. And the overflow, you know, it's an overflow, so
Hopefully it
hopefully you're not going to see too much water really ever come out of that. But yes.
All right. See? I knew you could do it.
I know, I was like, we should have done this a while ago.
Right.
We were much further along in the
Right?
process.
Was
but
it like October I called you and I
know.
said, come on.
You did. So yeah, we did take your advice, and we had to redesign anyways to, you know, pull these panels out of here. So we had the electrical engineer just kind of reconfigure everything. I said, well, if we're going to do that, let's just get it out of the buffer zone. You know, make things easier for everybody.
So the 100 BBW,
Yeah.
this is south.
Mm-hmm.
Your tree cutting, this is site plan. So where's your, let me just take a quick look at your erosion control.
Yeah, tree cutting is going to be outside of the buffer zone area too. The only spots where it's, you know,
Oh, I see. So the X is the fence, is
Correct.
the X the fence or is it the erosion
X is the
control?
erosion control.
The fence is
The
the
fence
dot.
is the line with the circle line.
Yeah.
And it kind of works out good. We have this area right through here where we're tight. That's where the basin is. So all that's going to be clear. And then we have this little gap here, and all that's going to be clear with the driveway and the swale up through here. This area
Is this
provides
going,
extra clearing.
so on the flat area, on the south of the whole thing, there's the road.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a road.
Gravel access road, yes.
So which way is the water I'm 940, oh, it's pretty flat, 940, 930. So it's going this way, right? It's going this way.
Correct, yeah. And it's eventually going to get into the swale, you know. It's going
That's what I was
travel
like.
that
So
way
this
and
is
get
like
to the
whatever
swale.
misses here, you're
Yeah, there's a high point here, because you can see how there's like a natural high
946,
point.
942, right?
coming through
Okay,
here.
so this is going to go that way.
Yeah,
This
we're
is going to go
breaking
that
here,
way.
right there. So that's going all that way to this basin,
Yep.
and the rest goes from here over, goes to this basin that collects all this.
So is that a swale next to the road, or is that just again? Is that the road? It's
That's
going
oh, I graded a swale right through here, so this is gonna be a grass swale right through here.
down? Okay.
Same thing here, grass swale coming along to this direction through
Oh, I see
here.
the little plants is the swale. So where's the road?
The road has nothing in it; it's just the blank space.
Oh, it's this right here. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Right. So many lines. All right. Wow. Excellent. So this is to let you know what's happening. So they found additional wetlands. There were some things that they had to do to move to comply with the new planning, you know, last year's planning bylaw, zoning bylaw. And then for a while we've been asking them to move the basin out of our jurisdiction, because that would move everything out of conservation's jurisdiction, and then we don't really have a say on what happens. It really simplifies the process completely for you and for everybody, but it also keeps work out of the wetlands and buffer zone. So this is a good thing. And so now they asked if they could withdraw. And of course you can. This is great. We appreciate that. And they're just going to move on to planning. at this point. I know you've already been seeing planning, but
For this.
for this.
This site.
So we'll send a note, I'll just send a quick note to planning that said we are done and closed. They'll be looking for that.
You know, I haven't contacted DEP yet. I was wanting to, you know, have this meeting tonight, so I'll send a revised, this plan
Oh, yeah,
to
sure.
DEP and just let them know we've withdrawn their applications.
Yep.
So they can put up their file.
That's good, okay.
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 Quick question, Nick, do you have any handouts?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a revised plan
You're
for
welcome. If you
the
want
last 12 that we have.
if you want to take these, you're welcome to take these. I have a big copy.
He's got a bunch of handouts.
Let's see.
He's already done the
This is
work.
one we
I'm trying to
just
get rid of
went
these.
over, if you wanna-
I know.
This is the one we just went over.
Right.
I think you're
So,
playing them. We're
Corinne,
using them
you
for kindling.
have a copy of
You got
this
two
one.
here?
Do you have a copy of this stamp?
That the new one?
Yes. You can just take this one, I wrote on it, but
Oh, the last
you
thing.
can take it.
Oh, there's two
You want
copies.
it?
I've got a spare.
Yes.
So with the date that they sent it, and stamp it, and then you can put that in the folder.
You have a different
Oh, so that's just the
set.
existing
Yes.
conditions, that's not really.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I only did the one, these are
I love the handout.
I know.
Here, what I got.
And-
So on to lot 4, or what I'm calling lot 4?
Oh, yeah, hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
So that was, yes, and on to lot 4.
Excuse me, I
Yes.
had a question on the previous one.
Oh, yeah,
you had up
sure.
there.
Sorry,
That's
sorry.
okay. Could you put
You'll
the
flip
one
that
back?
back.
No problem.
Yep.
There we go.
This right here,
Yes,
you're calling that
the detention
detention basin, and that drains out these locations,
correct.
and where does that go?
Towards the wetland?
And the drainage is from the bottom of that detention.
From the basin?
Yeah, this drains from the bottom of this. Yes?
Roughly, yeah. I mean, there's 3 pipes.
So all the water that goes into that is immediately going out towards the wetland,
Water that goes into the basin does discharge towards
immediately towards the
towards
wetland.
the resource area here, which follows the natural path where all the water is draining towards today.
And that water does have to meet the water quality standards, so if any dirty water does come out, then it becomes jurisdictional.
Well, if you can indulge me, my name is Tim O'Shea, by the way. I live at 362 Cutler Road Extension. The concern I have is the water out of that basin going towards the road, and basically that's acting like a funnel. And
Right.
if you can entertain it for a minute, I have video of what it looks like today, and it's barely keeping up with the water. This right here, with stripping out all of the trees and everything, and the vegetation, basically it's just gonna go at high speed towards the road and exceed the capacity of the culvert that's under the road. So if you could give me just 2 minutes to show you something real quick.
So I'm going to say no to that, as much as I
Okay.
actually would like to see that, because this is no longer in our jurisdiction for conservation.
But it is going to affect a wetland area, and it is going to wash the road out into the wetland area across the road.
And the problem is, it doesn't become our jurisdiction until it does that. Once that happens, then it becomes our.
So we have to let the road get destroyed and the
We
wetland
had,
across the
we've had
road?
this conversation with EPA as well.
We had it with EPA, we had it with DEP. So this is currently planning boards.
I see.
Planning board has this whole thing to review, and they'll go to their engineer. And what I would recommend is that somehow or other you get that information to the planning board to look at maybe before the meeting. Not
Okay.
sure how much of a hit it will be during the meeting. But if
Fair
you can find a way to get that information to the planning board prior to the meeting and express your concerns,
Mhm.
it is, at this point, it's really out of our jurisdiction completely, even if stuff, as soon as anything ends up in the wetland, it becomes jurisdictional, and then it becomes an enforcement issue.
I see.
But until then, because they're out of not only all of the wetlands, they're outside of the 100-foot buffer, and that is all our jurisdiction is.
Okay.
So for the,
I understand from your perspective, but
from the Conservation Commission,
I
I
have a road
totally
that I won't be able
understand.
to
We understand
cross
100%.
We, I
directly
mean,
across the street from where that's aiming, there are historic foundations.
I know those foundations,
That's where this is going to run.
We currently
wash
have
the
it
road
as of
into-
today, if you go to Little Rest Road,
Mhm.
Warren Solar Field,
Mhm.
pictures I sent today, it's unbelievable. The water is just, it's flooding from the field, it's
Mhm.
come out into the street, it's flooded the street, now it's going down Bemis Road and flooding Bemis Road. The stormwater failed. Again, that was all out of our jurisdiction.
And
There was
and
no
we were
wetlands
just talking
in
about
in
that, because there's video of it, and
It's,
Mhm.
and this is, you know, I don't wanna argue your design, we've talked about it before about the roads washing out, but I'm currently contracted to fix another solar field that has the exact same design and the exact same hill, that there's nothing left to it. The rock swales, there's 8-inch rocks, crushed rock swales, the rocks are gone, there's holes, gigantic, so we know they fail, we just, until they fail, we can't do anything.
I just got a follow-up question to that. My name's David Dufresne, Cutler Road Extension also. What's the enforcement part of it? How can we hold them to this?
So.
When it does happen and it does fall in your
Nothing.
jurisdiction?
It does. So if it does happen and it does fall in our jurisdiction, we will have to contact, I mean, so this is where it gets kludgy, because usually it's an easy thing. I can call up the landowner and say, we are issuing an enforcement, and here is the problem, and we need you to fix it. And if they don't work with us, then it goes to DEP, and then DEP takes it. Usually they work with us because we're a lot nicer than DEP in some respects, but we do require the fix and whatever that is. And so when we had enforcement orders, we've been working with local people. Now, once they install this solar project and then they sell it, and then it goes to the next, how we track them down is a whole other issue, and we've never encountered that. You're not selling this?
We're not selling the project and we retain the land, we will own the land.
So you'll own the land. So we would
Well,
call
the only other issue from a legal standpoint.
Pedro.
Yes, I know
and say-
Pedro.
Right, so we would call Pedro and say, Pedro, you've got a problem.
The only other problem is, and I'm not saying you're gonna do this, but I'm just saying this is what's happened with other solar projects that I've been involved in, that the owners owned it. Once the power's turned on, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because
They're getting their money.
if it happened in your house, once we put an enforcement order, it's recorded on the deed,
Mhm.
you can't sell your property until you fix it.
If he owns the land, we can put it on the deed.
But they aren't gonna sell the land. If they ever do anything, they'll lease it, and if they're gonna, and they don't ever care with the restriction on the deed because they're not doing anything with it. So that's.
Thank you for being honest with us.
That's the bottom line. I mean, if there are one of the guys I've worked for, there's a stand-up guy, and some guys are stand-up companies and some companies are not. It's like everything. It's like every business. You know, I mean, you got good ones and bad ones. Good guys will stand up and fix it, bad guys won't.
So essentially, at this point, there's nothing that.
There's
You can do
nothing
it, has
that
to go to the
we
planning
can do,
board.
but what you
Planning.
could do is, so for instance, what I would do is I would say, the water is going to be, it's being directed to an area that I'm not really fond of. Maybe we could take those pipes and aim it in a different direction. And instead of it going east, they go more south? Can it drain more south? What can you do to dissipate the water so it's not being channeled? You know, can you put pipes in different areas on that basin? What can you do to change that, to make it less of a funnel?
Well, our understanding of this whole thing is the catch basins are supposed to be catch basins, retain the water, allow for drainage, so it can seep out naturally, not to funnel it.
Yeah, well, there are different types of basins.
Well,
There's,
you're right about that.
And but he is-
The intent of the stormwater isn't to funnel water into wetlands. The intent is to
Right.
recharge the groundwater, and that's the intent.
And that's
Basins,
not what
and that's
they're
why
doing.
DEP's not really fond of basins either, to be honest.
well, there are basins where you recharge the water. It holds the water and then it's supposed to, you know, there's
Naturally drain.
that the outlet is, you know, a foot and a half off, and the water sits in the basin and then it infiltrates into the ground. It's really wet here. chances are, it's hard to design a basin that's infiltration on Coy Hill because it's high perch water table, it's clay, it's bedrock, it's all of that stuff. And these guys are close, if not in the water at this point. You're not on.
We're filling, I mean, we're
On
doing
the
a lot of
other one.
fill slopes.
So to get 2-foot separation between the bottom of the basin is probably a hard thing to design here. So instead, the water goes down.
Because those are gonna fail.
Well, they're not necessarily going to fail, but what they will do is they'll
They're
just
gonna
do
wash
exactly
over.
what you're saying. They're going to shoot a whole basin, like
They're gonna collect all the.
they're going to
water
collect
down
all the
this
water. It's
spot.
going to go in the basin, and then it's going to end up
I
on
can show you exactly where it's gonna fail on the road too.
that property.
It's on the video.
It's definitely a planning board issue
It is.
at this point.
We'll definitely be there too.
I know you will. Okay.
So we're out of your jurisdiction now.
On this
On that
one-
one, not on this one.
So we're moving on to the next one where it is in our jurisdiction. Yes.
Oh, I just have one separate question. Maybe this is a Pedro question. I was just curious. So Cutler Road Extension Lot 7, which is the big one, is 180 acres. And we had a recent solar moratorium hearing. One of the town employees had mentioned a price that the land was being sold for. So do you happen to have the price of what the land is being sold for?
I do know the plans, but the contract that we have is confidential. I cannot reveal anything on the public record.
Oh, okay, so, well, the reason why I asked the question is,
Yeah.
is Mr. Ramsey, who's chairman of the planning board, mentioned a figure of 85,000. I don't know if that's true or not.
Correct.
But that land, the 180 acres is worth $311,200,
Should we?
according to
These
the
are
assessment
conservation
record.
issues.
So.
We can talk about later about that.
Commission's jurisdiction.
So
Well-
does this tie in with conservation in any way? And if it does, I'm going to let you proceed. But if it doesn't tie into conservation, we're going to have to respectfully ask you to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any, I will answer those questions. Let's just let it proceed with the
Can you-
presentation with conservation.
Oh, no, that's fine,
Can you
sure.
get back to him?
Of course.
Yeah, we can talk after, that's fine.
Okay, I mean, that would be great. That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, thank you.
All right.
Do you want me to address any of the questions about the stormwater, or?
Do you feel like you can address?
No, I mean, just, for the record, I just want to get on the
Yeah.
record. Stormwater is designed in accordance with DEP stormwater guidelines. It's been reviewed by the planning board's consultant. We actually got a letter today. They have no concerns with the design of the overall configuration of all the basins. They've looked at the entire project. Few inconsistencies that need to be addressed, minor calculation changes, but for the most part, the town's the planning board's consulting engineer did review it. Everything complies that we're doing here with stormwater guidelines, stormwater standards. I can't say that there won't be a catastrophe of any sort, a 10,000-year storm where we get 30 inches of rain and there's flooding, but we designed it in accordance with current state standards. And that's all I can do, that's all I can say with regards to the stormwater system. We can look at spreading out the outlets, put one a little bit further up. The thing is, I don't want to put any outlets further up in this direction, because then we're really going to be funneling the water towards the street. That's why I kept everything
South.
down here, where the grade's going to take it more directly towards the wetland, which is that wetland takes it away from the roadway and brings it down to the separate complex. That's why the outlets are grouped in this general area. Because if I put the outlets here, the water would be flowing more towards the road. The emergency spillway is up in this direction, just because I wanted to kind of separate the riprap, but like I said, that's for emergency purposes. I mean, storms intensities of greater than 100-year storm event are going to go through that spillway. So
How steep of a slope is it at that point?
from here to here, roughly,
Yeah.
this is about 10%. So not incredibly steep.
We're not talking about a 100-year storm. I get data from today.
Well, I'm talking about the stormwater calculation values I'm required to use. So there's certain values associated with 2-year storm events, 10-year storm events, 100-year storm events that are used in our calculations that of what we use to design these basins.
We've had storms like today, like
Correct,
Many
there's
times
localized flooding,
over
I mean,
Today
over
was,
the
I
last
almost,
10 years.
I mean, I went through
It's been
multiple
happening again and
roads
again.
on my way here that were flooded. I mean, today's an odd day, but, I mean, so to, kind of use today as a general example is a tough situation. But I just wanted to kind of get on the record that it's been designed in accordance with stormwater standards. We can look at, maybe twisting an outlet, around, put one this way, one that way, but I don't want to move the outlets further up,
yeah,
just for the record.
I agree with that. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're not withdrawing this one.
Okay.
We're moving on to lot 4. The one thing that I forgot to do when I gave you guys the revised stormwater report, I didn't stamp the soil logs that you guys asked for, which I realized, so I think it's a copy.
Okay, would you put that in the file?
What's stamped? Soil logs, it's for all the lots, it's all the lots. I think I showed you.
Thank you.
All right.
So, I'll get that out to you. So since we were last here, we redesigned the system to be out of the 50-foot natural buffer along this property line, which is technically a residential property. So we have no grading, no tree clearing, no panels, no driveway, no nothing in this 150-foot zone right through here. In the 100-foot setback from the property line, we have pulled all the panels and equipment out of that 100-foot setback. I added an additional stormwater detention basin. I'm calling it Detention Basin 9.
Where does that collect?
This kind of collects this water. You can kind of see these contours that are kind of running, this way. It's going. This one kind of, these are running.
Sorry, can I just
in the
interrupt a little
background.
bit? You can,
Oh yeah, sorry.
you're blocking the whole thing, so we can't see
You
what
see
you're
how the
directing.
contours are running this way,
Yeah?
this way, this way. So that's all being directed towards this basin. Before it was going to a swale. This was all going to come across the driveway and go to a swale. So now I have a swale up through here, which I'm going to collect everything that's coming roughly in this area right through here, where my hand is kind of covering. That's going to go to detention basin number 9. Then I reconfigured this detention basin 8 because of the 150-foot natural buffer. I couldn't get the basin big enough to collect all the stormwater like we had before. That's why I added the additional basin. So now we have 2 basins instead of 1. We still have a grass channel that kind of comes down through here, is collecting all the stormwater from the arrays and panels before it gets to the natural buffer and channeling it down towards the detention basin. And we have a small swale which is collecting any water that may run off of this little section right through here that brings it into the detention basin. Buffer zone disturbance, everything is within the 50 to 100-foot buffer zone. The major, disturbance called permanent disturbance is in this area right through here, where we have the driveway. This portion of the driveway is within the buffer zone right through here. The rest of for the most part of the buffer zone disturbance is going to be, clearing up in this area right through here, and the same thing up in this area right through here. It's just going to be, vegetation management and clearing.
What kind of, you can clear cut in the buffer zone?
Not the buffer zone, just up into our erosion control line to get enough trees down to make sure we get enough sunlight on the panels.
So up to here. Oh, right here. So the one thing that I need to point out,
Yes.
that's not gonna fly with us. And this is simply for consistency across the board. We've 9, 10 11, you guys are like the 13th application for solar that's been come before us. Woo, right? 14th maybe. We, after maybe the 6th, because we didn't realize we would have such an inundation of solar, we do not allow work in the inner 75 feet. You get 25 feet. And that has been consistent for, so there's a couple of places that we would allow it, like for stormwater. But any other work, it doesn't fly.
I mean, for the record, this information may have been helpful at the previous meeting.
We
when
did,
we
you
were
were
going
out,
through a major
you were
redesign.
out of, at the last meeting, you were out of it.
I mean, if the commission has a policy, and that's not a written policy, I mean, I feel like we should have been made aware of that at the previous meeting.
You were out of it, I didn't expect that you would move it into it. Well, the last time you were not 50, you were not in the 50 feet. You were mostly out of it.
I believe we were mostly out of it, yes.
You were mostly out of it, so we didn't expect you to move it into. We expect you to stay where you were.
Is that a written policy?
It is not a written policy, but it's also our right as a commission to ask that work isn't done in the buffer unless you can prove to us that there will be no impact.
And there's also the appeal process, you can appeal to DEP.
I mean, you can definitely appeal it to DEP, but we just, you know, as a general rule, when you're taking you're taking so many linear feet times 50 feet, suddenly that's a big take. And you're surrounded by wetlands here.
Okay, we'll take that into consideration.
Okay. There's a couple of areas, like on this particular plan, where you have the fence, the erosion control fence that goes across. I'm not sure why you would need that 50 feet. It looks to me like you can move that over a little bit.
This right through here?
Yep.
To provide this open space. I mean, we can't have trees on top of the panels. We need to have
Right.
about 40 feet of clear space from the edge of the panel. It's typically what these guys, it's what they tell me they need when
Okay.
preparing the site plan. So, I mean, I tried not to go anywhere beyond that, but as in this area right through here, you know, we're within a tiny bit of the buffer zone. I guess we can pull it in this way a little bit and then kick it back out. Had I known of the request, I would have, you know, tried to tighten things up a little bit more. I felt, you know, staying out of the 50-foot zone was a good parameter to stick with, and which is what the design was going for here.
Yeah, and then on the second page, it's a little bit more. Okay.
So I mean, this driveway right through here,
Yep.
I mean, if we tighten this up in this back section, can we still keep the driveway coming through here? I mean, we're just trying to figure out where we need to make changes. If we stay out of the 75-foot zone in this area, maybe lose a couple panels up through here. But the driveway is what really kind of comes into the buffer zone. I mean, it's clearing and driveway, but with the driveway in this area, you know, we're not looking for additional clearing because the clearing has to be done to install the driveway. Kind of coming up through here. You know, we're probably anywhere from scale. Here. 60. Okay. So So it'd be this general area right through here, where we'd be asking to dip into from 25 to 50. We could make this work, but we'd have to lose a significant amount of panels in that location.
And over here, so, yeah, you have a couple of areas that maybe you can tighten up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So the detention basin is acceptable, correct?
The detention basin, we've allowed detention basins in the wetland. We've done that for Hill. Obviously, it's preferable to have it be stretched out so it's less in it, but yeah. But as much as you can be out of the 50.
Mm-hmm. We can make some changes.
Okay.
Get a decent amount out of there.
Okay. So there are a couple of other questions. One of them is just a note that you have on here.
Did I spell something wrong?
No, it says all construction employees shall be required to park at 70 Coy Hill Road, West Brookfield.
That's correct. So,
Where's 70? When I looked it up on Google, I was
Yeah.
like, where is that?
so that's what I'm calling Lot 1. So right when you come in,
So Cutler Road, so it's Beaman Road.
correct, but the address for that parcel's 70
Coy
Coy
Hill.
Hill. Because it's at the corner of Coy Hill and Beaman.
Okay.
So what we're doing on that lot is, the goal is to keep as much construction traffic off of Cutler Road and Beaman Road. So we're having, that's gonna be the first site constructed. So they're gonna go in and clear, establish a large cleared area with wood chips and crushed stone, enough space to park 50 or 60 construction employees. And then those people will be walking, in the site to their respective sites. 'Cause,
Right.
these guys are concerned with too much traffic on the road, getting the road beat up.
Oh yeah, no,
We
I
don't
was
want-
just,
you know,
when I plugged it in, it didn't come up
Yeah.
as it came way down on Coy Hill and Warren, and it didn't show up in West Brookfield, and then I was like, well, where is this? I wonder if they meant, I thought maybe you meant Beaman Road or,
Correct. It's more of a safety thing. We don't want any construction workers idling on the road.
no, I totally get it. I
Parking
was
their
just trying
cars
to
on the
figure out
road, so yes.
where it was,
Yeah.
because Google wasn't telling me.
Correct. So if you go up the road along the left, right when you come in, keep the cars off of the roadway as much as possible. That's the goal there.
That was curious. I have a note that says we need to see construction sequence, stormwater plans, not plans for permitting only, and then the reason, there's some of the things that you have notes that are really written to you on there, right? Because I know these guys on site are not going to be, sorry, Phillip. So you talk about, there's on the bottom of C22, the erosion control.
Mm-hmm.
Sediment basins shall be cleaned out. You go on, okay, which totally makes sense. And then it says, in no case shall the sediment level be permitted to build up higher than 1 foot below the principal spillway. Makes total sense, but then you're talking about the volume and 18,000 cubic feet per acre of drainage, or 50%, you know what I mean? So
Correct. That's the state calculation for
right, but
sediment basin.
I guess my point is, when somebody is on site, they're not going to be doing the calculation. Isn't there just, once it reaches 1 feet or 2 feet or whatever it is, isn't?
No, well, that's if they want to build an additional basin. So if these aren't working,
Yeah, but
they should.
That's my question.
That's
I mean,
the
we're talking about
language.
building a regular basin, you guys don't have a lot of land. If you got a construction sequence, you kind of know where the water's going when you're working, right?
Correct. Yes.
So, do you foresee this happening? And if so, where would it happen?
If there's, it's all going to depend. Once they get out there, they clear the site. If they notice an area that stormwater is being channelized to,
But you don't have any room.
I would recommend that they build a sediment basin in that area, even if it's not where the proposed basins are that we're gonna be using for sediment
But
basins.
then what? I mean, the only place you have is panels. So you're gonna dig a basin in the middle where you're gonna put panels, and then you gotta come back and fill
With
it
the
in.
temporary construction basins.
But you're talking large temporary construction basins. If you're gonna do, because you're referring back to the stormwater guidelines about how many cubic feet per water per, so you're talking in 100 acres, I mean, where you're working, you're talking a fairly good sized basin, right? You're not talking a 30-foot hole, right?
Lot 4 is the clearing's about, we're about 8 acres now. It's not, this isn't for the entire property.
I guess what I'm getting at
drastically
is,
reduce the disturbance on this property.
what I'm getting at is you designed this. I mean, do you foresee any problems like this happening? I mean, based on the construction
I
sequence?
can't predict the future. I don't know. Once they get out there and they pull the trees, I don't know if a machine's gonna drive through a soft spot and make a rut and create channelized flow to somewhere that's going towards the wetland. If I go out there and see that, I'm gonna have them put a temporary basin.
So during logging, you're gonna start doing basins?
No, I'm gonna go out there and do inspections, and if I notice
No,
something.
well, that's my question, because you just said, well, if a guy goes in there pulling out stumps and ruts it and creates it, well then, so do you wait till the logging's done to build a basin, or are you gonna build it right then and there?
It would be, if I saw sediment running towards the wetland unchecked, I would look to do something.
Okay, so
It wouldn't
during
be a- it
during
might not-
logging, you'll start, before anything else, you'll start doing a basin at that
It
point?
might not be a basin, it may be additional erosion controls, we don't know. I mean, I don't know how the construction process is gonna pan out.
We're just trying to figure out what this means. That's, you know what I mean?
It's a general no.
It's a general note. If you don't like the note, I can take the note off the plans.
No, what our goal was is that,
That's a general guideline for sizing a sediment basin. That's what that note is.
sure, and I get that, but I also get what Richard is saying, and he's saying is that currently on this particular site, there really isn't a lot of room to put a basin because you are squished up against the wetland. There's not a lot of room. Where would you put it? And then continue to work.
Well, we could put it where some panels are going because there will be work going on. The panels are the last thing to go in.
Okay.
For the record, we don't expect to see it. That is a general no. For next liability, he has to put it in there because for some emergency, which we don't expect to happen,
Right.
that note has to be in there in his plan.
We usually see on plans, so this is what we're used to seeing on the plans, is that there are locations identified to put the extra basins if need be. So oftentimes there's, areas identified saying that this will be, these are basin areas, and stockpile areas and whatever. And so if there is going to be trouble, these are the likely spots that we're gonna need a basin.
And the reason why we don't have it in these plans is because, like you said, we have 8 acres. Like Nick said, we have 8 acres to clear. It's too small. We don't expect to have it.
Right.
The only
Okay.
reason we put that is because we have it in all of our plans.
Okay.
And so for these ones, I did change the construction sediment control. So these basins are gonna be used for temporary sediment basins. I know we said that before, they weren't originally proposed, I added notes. So they're gonna be excavated down to a foot above final grade, and once the tree clearing's gonna occur, they're gonna go in and cut the roads in, put the basins in, and they're gonna be used for temporary basins during construction. Because that's relatively, because I was thinking about it, the stormwater is naturally going in these directions anyways, that's where I put the stormwater basins, because I was looking at areas to put temporary basins, but I said, well, let's just go this route. I put the notes on there that, the requirements associated with using those basins for temporary sediment basins. So they're not infiltration basins, we're not running into those concerns.
When you're just gonna, I guess, do you have a construction sequence
Correct,
on
yeah,
here?
it's on
Page,
previous page.
So you're gonna, the bottom of the basin, you're gonna leave it a foot high, right?
Correct.
So the inlets on the outlet pipes you've got in this basin, 8, they're about 8 inches off the bottom, right?
Well, the outlet for the sediment basin is gonna be the spillway.
Oh, I
I'm not
see.
gonna put the pipes in.
You're not putting any pipes in?
Well, not until after,
Not
I'm
until-
assuming.
Well,
Not
how
until
do
we
you-
get to that final, it's
So
gonna be
you're gonna
rough.
so you're gonna build the basin, build the berm, and then you're gonna come back and dig the berm back up and put the pipes in?
Correct, yeah, it's gonna be rough graded.
Is that in the construction sequence? Rough grade aeration, no, not really. Okay, that's why I was asking. So you're gonna rough dig a hole in the ground,
Correct.
and then the
Put a
riprap,
riprap
that's,
spillway.
the riprap spillway,
Yep,
that won't be there, or it will be?
that will be there, and
Yeah.
then that will all come out,
That's all gonna come out, and then you're going to,
because you're gonna have to get in there and excavate out the whole bottom of the basin and get all the sediment out of there. So
Right.
We're not gonna build the temporary basin to the same standard as they're gonna do the full basin. So the idea is, go in there, they're gonna clear the site, cut the trees. Once the trees are cut, they're gonna start working on the site work portion, pulling the stumps, cutting the road in, then we're gonna get the temporary basins in. Once the temporary basins are in, and the stumps are pulled, they're gonna be doing the chipping process, they're gonna be spreading the chips over the site. So once the chips are spread, we're not gonna foresee major sediment issues, is what my feeling is on this. So once those chips are down, they're gonna start installing the panels and the racking system, and they're gonna go through, excavate out the areas that are being used for the temporary basins, and properly install the stormwater basins with
So is
proper,
that everything coming out at that point?
for the most part, most
So like,
everything's gonna come
Phillip, for the
out.
foundation cutoff of the berm, you gotta come back and do that after? or-
Correct, it's all gonna be done after,
How deep is groundwater there, 3 feet?
ballpark, yes.
So do you have any concerns of doing that foundation cutoff with clay?
Do not know.
How are you gonna compact it if it's in a foot of water?
Well, the foundation cutoff's actually on the fill slope, so we're actually gonna be higher than the groundwater table. We're
Yeah,
gonna
but
be-
your foundation cutoff shows from existing grade going down 4 feet below existing grade. So if that's 4 feet, you're a foot in groundwater, you got a trench full of water, and you gotta dump clay in it, you're not concerned about compacting that?
You gotta remember, the way the basins are installed and graded, they pretty much follow natural grade, comes down, and then natural grade's going like this. We're filling that in to create the impoundment. So
I know
we're
where
on
you're
a filled
filling in,
area.
but I know, but your cutoff, you can't put the foundation cutoff in fill.
The bottom of the basin's gonna be infill, yes.
This isn't, this has to be down in existing ground. This has to be 4 feet down in existing grade, that's the cutoff.
The width is 4 feet.
It's
It's
got,
2.5 feet deep.
is this 2.5 feet deep?
Yep.
Well, even at 2.5 feet, you're in the groundwater. You're not close.
It'd be close, but I don't see it being a concern. And if that arises during construction, we'll make a construction modification at that time.
Okay. My other question is, the bottom of these basins are in the groundwater
Based on,
these elevations. You got, right here, you got 850 existing, and you got 845's proposed bottom, that's 2 feet into the groundwater.
in which area?
Bottom, come here. This is 850, this is 845, right? So the groundwater is 3 feet below existing grade. So if you got 850, you subtract 845, that puts you 5 feet down, 2 feet into groundwater. Right here,
50
850.
on the corner.
And this one is too. This is it groundwater. You gotta be 2 feet above. This is that groundwater. This one, you're at 24 inches. You're 2 feet above here, but here you're at the groundwater, and there you're 2 feet below groundwater.
Correct. I mean, no, that's, in this area, we'll see how that pans out with the
Well,
system.
regardless, you don't have your 2 foot separation.
Based on the testing we did.
Well, I'm based on your numbers right here. I'm just using your numbers. 36, it's simple math, there it is. I mean, you need a 2 foot separation, you don't have it.
I believe we have the 2 foot separation in the basin.
Well, how?
In this- in this-
850,
in this
subtract
area
845,
right
that's
here.
5 feet.
Okay.
If the groundwater is at 3 feet, that puts you 2 feet below groundwater, and you gotta be 2 feet above groundwater.
No, I understand.
So you're below, it doesn't need it.
Well, we can go out and do some additional testing if needed.
Well, you're gonna have to, I mean, because this doesn't meet the guidelines.
Based on the review we got from the engineer.
Forget the review, look at the,
They feel the,
I'm sorry,
excuse
well,
me, they feel the assumptions we made for this basin, based on the testing data we have, is appropriate.
but wait a minute, you just got done telling this gentleman that you did all your stormwater design based on the stormwater regulations.
Correct.
I'm going based on, so I don't care what Graves Engineering said, I'm not making this up, this is in the stormwater regulations, you need a 2 foot separation. You said, you told them you designed it based on the stormwater guidelines, and this isn't.
For that area right there. I mean, I don't have an actual groundwater number right there.
It doesn't matter what the groundwater number is, I'm looking at the grades. The grades say it doesn't work,
Based on,
based on math.
the closest test pit is in this area. Well, I mean, we can roll.
You're gonna have to look at that. And I got another question.
We'll look at that.
Can you explain how this works? I'm confused, and it's not hard to confuse me. I get the swell, this is catching all your water, you get the swell, but what happens to the water here?
Travels over the top of the basin and into the,
Well, this isn't the basin, this is the road.
it's not a road, it's just the top of the basin.
This is a gravel road.
Yeah, it's an
Access gravel road, this is a
access,
gravel road, so you're
correct.
gonna have, so the water, this road apparently is higher than this swale. How's the water gonna get in there, and isn't it gonna wash the gravel into the basin?
This isn't higher than the swale.
This road isn't higher, this,
Nope.
where's the swale? Where's the swale on this road?
Swale, it comes down through here.
And then
850.
you got this road here.
Then it continues down
But
into the basin.
the swale,
Once
this swale opens up, so
once
the
it gets
water's
to-
coming this way.
Once it gets to 850, it goes into the basin.
But why don't you have stone, I mean, you've got stone here because you're worried about the water eroding here, right? And you got, now you're gonna have all this
Well,
water
this is
coming in and washing the gravel out of the road. I mean, how's the gravel gonna stay there? I mean, there's gonna be a lot of water coming through there, right?
Right through here, I don't foresee a whole lot of water, just a small area.
Well, I mean, it's gonna collect in this swale, right?
Most of the water comes down through this area right through here. And if it, for some reason, if it were to wash out, it'd be repaired, but we don't see it being an issue in that area.
Well,
I mean,
I mean, the problem is that if it does wash out, now you are, does it settle? Is your outlet pipe a foot off?
8 inches.
It's 8 inches, so there is some settling. You don't wanna be dumping, sediment into the wetland, then it becomes a jurisdictional.
I don't think sediment's going to be going into the wetland. The water is gonna be collected in the swale.
Well, you
directly-
just said if the road blows out, then you'll fix it.
If this little section right here that we're calling a gravel access path were to blow out, then that would be repaired. But at the same time, we can add some additional heavier riprap right at the corner right here. Placed riprap, we can kind of place it into the top of the slope, if that's a concern. If that's a concern, we'll go ahead and do that. Just kind of set larger, like 18-pound rocks of riprap.
I mean, it's your
Through
design.
this-
if
through
you're
this
comfortable
section.
with the sand, you don't worry about it.
I'm comfortable with it, but
Then
if
that-
that's something the commission would like to see, we can make those changes.
That's out of our jurisdiction anyways, I'm just, it's a.
No, it's
Well, no, it isn't. Well, it is.
the basin, because the basin is,
That's not part of the basin though, really.
what should this road, this,
No, the swale right here.
oh, that little section.
Yeah, so that's.
Well,
not-
part of it's in jurisdiction.
I mean, if you're comfortable with it, that's, it's your stamp.
We'll make the change. I'll pull the riprap
I mean,
over
you,
through
you,
here.
you need the access, you gotta get through there on the road. That's what-
Correct,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? So, I mean, it's kind of it's a difficult situation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree. And then my other question was on this, on the stormwater inlet protection,
Mhm.
I guess, what do you call on the storm drain? It says inlet protection to be utilized for soil and debris from entering storm drain inlet. So is the drain the outlet pipes, is that the drain, or?
The inlet protection is for catch basins, so further
So just-
upstream.
So for this catch basin, the upper basin, that catch basin, that's what this is all about?
Correct, yes.
So it's not anything to do with these outlet
No,
pipes?
they put like a dandy bag or, some sort of filter fabric style bag to keep sediment from going into there.
That's what I
Your swales initially are gonna be grass swaled, and then they're going to be rip-wrapped at the end?
No, well, coming towards the end of the basin is where we're putting the riprap as requested, but yeah, this is gonna be grass.
And then that swale over there is gonna be
It's
grass?
gonna be grass, yeah, this one's pretty shallow, it's
Yep.
running at about 1.5%, relatively shallow through here.
So it's just that little area at the bottom, right before the basin?
Correct,
that's
well,
gonna be-
yeah, where we have, we're calling our access driveway around the
Okay.
basin.
So this whole grass, it does stay grass?
This is supposed to stay grass, yes.
I was confused because the note says it's gonna be taken out.
It has to be rough graded and utilized as temporary construction. Once site has been stabilized, riprap channel
Correct.
constructed.
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to say grass, make that change. But yeah, well, what this note's trying to convey is when they're using the basin for the temporary swale, or excuse me, temporary sediment basin,
Yeah?
I want them to cut in the swale too, to kind of
Is
channelize.
that gonna
Yeah,
be
sure.
stabilized before?
Well, right, is it gonna be seeded and stabilized?
That's, well, I'm gonna try and have them.
Before the construction starts, or?
Correct, well, not during construction, they're gonna cut it in, seed it, and then direct it, everything towards the swale here. Because I don't want runoff getting over to
Are you gonna,
the natural
I mean,
buffer zone.
are you worried about it washing off and get a rainstorm, or should you use jute mat or something, or?
We
something
can
that's
look
more
into that, I
stable?
mean, it all depends on, the season of the construction season, when this thing starts to get built.
I mean, because it'll take a week
Yeah, they're
on
going,
a
Week,
good,
it'll take more than that to be ready for rain.
well, for rain, right, sure, but it'll take a
Right,
week
I
for the
know.
grass to begin to sprout,
Mhm.
and then for it to be all the way in, I don't know how long that
I
takes.
might probably have them hydro seed it once they cut it in, and then just temporarily just come in and blast it with hydro seed. Hopefully it grows within a week. The goal is to keep the natural area with anything running off into that area.
I guess one of the things that you could do while the grass is growing is either jute net, or you can,
We just line it with filter fabric. if
Right.
We had to.
exactly.
Just kind of dig it out and line it. Put some rocks to hold it down. I mean, I've done that before on sites. So, like I said, these are very good questions, but these are all really construction related and seasonal questions. Once we get into building this thing, if it's a wet time like this, I would make them do something when they cut that temporary swale in.
So, one of the reasons that we ask you this is because we have seen multiple sites fail because of, there is a term that's used, what is that term? Means and measures.
Means and measures.
Means and measures, and at first we were like, okay, you guys make decisions on the fly. Well, a lot of the decision power is not really successful. And
I've never
so
used that term.
so the means and measures, essentially you're saying the same thing here without using the term means and measures, is that you're gonna wing it. And
No, I'm not saying we're gonna wing it,
there
because
is a certain amount of decision-making on the site, but there's certain things that we would like to see,
lockdown.
options listed
Okay.
as opposed to, because maybe you guys work with this construction crew over and over again and you have a great relationship with them. We've also been told that. So we're a little gun shy, right? I mean, the bottom line is that we have seen literally hundreds of thousands of yards of material end up in a cold water fishery because of failure to react and not be able to figure out how to do something.
And an engineer say to me, I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
I
So
This is actually came from an engineer.
so
He dug a
it's,
trench at the bottom of, he goes, I dug a trench at the bottom of the ground, and it was 0 out for 2 weeks. And I said, when did you dig the trench? He said, 2 weeks ago. I said, well, the trench is frozen. That's why I can't accept the water.
Yeah.
And he said, I dug it 3 feet deep. I said, well, you gotta dig it 3 more feet. He goes, he couldn't get into his head that it froze. I mean,
so anyway,
so that's what.
so we're
we
a
done.
little gun
I
shy, and
understand,
so
I
what we
understand.
would like to see is here are some options. You may choose to do something completely different, but maybe somebody needs a little help making those decisions.
I'll be a little bit more descriptive in the note on the
That would
swale.
be fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just have line it with filter fabric. I think that's the easiest.
That's, whatever
simplest,
works to keep
temporary
it stabilized,
form. Yeah,
that's
correct.
really great.
Okay.
I mean, you pretty much, it's either out of jurisdiction, my question, so we don't need to go there, and let me just look at
I mean,
my,
I'm curious.
I am constantly curious. That. I think I got everything. And Richard asked the rest of the questions about the basins. Okay. Does anybody here have questions? Open it up. Wow. All right. So we will see you, yes?
Are there any other regulations
Thank
Correct.
you,
Is there any
Pedro.
unwritten
Yes.
rules we should be
The
aware
next
of?
time you come back, we'll let you know. I'm only kidding. I'm sorry about that. I really am.
That's okay.
No. I mean, really, that is our, yes,
So for the record,
yes.
items to address.
Items to address.
We have, I'll call it erosion control notes.
Right, perfect.
Okay. We're gonna look at groundwater in this corner of the basin.
Yes, we're looking at groundwater is the bottom of the basin going to intercept water.
2-foot separation.
2-foot separation.
We're gonna look at that, we'll address that. And pull as much as we can out of the 75 foot. Or, I mean, my question is the driveway. I just wanna know, I mean, where are we with the driveway in this area? With regards to this through here. On the back side, we talked about that, we can lose a couple panels,
So
pulling our,
here's
our
what
line
I
a little bit
have.
more.
You have 32,000 square feet of plus. That's just like a really low ball number because I didn't include a whole bunch of, so 32,000 square feet of buffer that you're utilizing. So I don't have my calculator. My phone is somewhere. So anyway, we want that at least in half. I mean, ultimately, what we're looking for is get out of the buffer zone as much as you can and be really pretty, like, use your red pen. Be pretty strict about it. Because ultimately, we don't let anybody else do that. We just don't let anybody else. We have allowed the basin, we've had allowed the basin, so I'm not, right, gonna make a stink, but everything else we wanna see as tight as possible. And if you are gonna have a little extra on the road, pull out completely somewhere else.
yeah, I mean, like I said, that backside.
So
should
figure
be able to
it
work
out.
that
So what you can
So it
do
would just
is
be
figure
this
it.
area.
Okay, so here's the general. This is what I'm gonna give you as a task.
Okay.
The linear feet that, the linear feet of the
BVW buffer zone?
BVW buffer zone,
Which one, BVW or buffer zone?
it doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
It should be the same thing.
They're a little bit different. The buffer zone's gonna be bigger because they have a bigger radius.
Well, the linear feet that you are in, right? So just follow
Okay.
that,
Yep.
right? Follow that, and then multiply that times 25 feet.
Mhm.
That's what you have. That's the amount of square feet that you have to work.
Oh, all, on all the buffer zone on the site.
Right,
Okay,
okay?
I'll do those numbers up for
You
you.
see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. And that's probably not exactly the way I would really want it to happen, but that's what you're,
I'm pretty
that's
sure we
what
can
you
stay
have.
under that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be able to stay under that.
Are you following what I'm saying? All right.
Did you write that down, Pedro?
Okay. So I
Okay.
think, I mean, ultimately, that's it, right? So the swale, the basin, pull out of our jurisdiction a little bit more.
Take up the erosion control notes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave this on here, is that okay?
You can leave that on here, but, you know, again, what we're looking for.
Maybe put some additional information, like, you know, if,
I like the
additional-
fact that you said, you know, the specific action, once it reaches 2 feet or whatever, clean it out.
yep.
You know, once it reaches a certain amount, clean it out. If you need another basin, maybe you could recommend
location or something.
location or put parameters around it. So for instance, what's gonna make sense during the construction sequence? Is it better to put it on the road? Is it better to put it where the panels are? A little guideline that's going to make it easier for you and for them,
Okay.
actually in the long run, right? So if you're gonna install from north to south, then maybe you need to put the basins, you know, whatever. I mean, you get the point.
Yes.
Parameters.
What time of year are you planning on starting this?
Late summer, probably.
Say that again?
Late summer.
Oh, late summer. Like August,
That is
the
plan.
heat of the summer.
Perfect.
Where's dry?
Right.
You know,
Well,
wood
not
chippers
this year.
All summer.
End of summer.
It's gonna be pleasant up there.
Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, questions? You're good?
I'm good.
All right. Okay, all right.
So,
How fast can you get that done?
when's the next meeting?
2 weeks?
Yeah, we're looking for.
Yeah. I
We
think
need it before the day before.
Yeah, when, that's what I was gonna ask.
Right, so
Yeah, that, it's not, yeah.
can you get it to us the Thursday,
So the next.
So
which is really
February-
next week, right? Hold it, where's,
February 12th
sorry, where's
is
my
the
phone?
meeting, I think.
I know
February
we,
12th is the meeting.
The February 12th?
oh my gosh.
It's Tuesday.
Is it a Tuesday or the Wednesday?
Oh,
Wednesday.
actually, it's the 13th, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you said the
It's
13th.
the 13th, all right,
It's the
so
13th.
1, 2, all right, so it's 3 weeks.
Okay, even better.
That's better, actually, right?
So-
Okay,
So that would be the Wednesday before February 6th?
so, this, on the 6th would be ideal,
That's
right? You could do that.
perfect. Yeah, but.
That's almost a full 2 weeks. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
So the next meeting's the 7th then, right?
No, the next meeting is the
13th.
13th. The 13th. It's always I was sick, I've been really sick, which is why we canceled our last meeting. We didn't have quorum, but it's usually the second Wednesday of every month. Makes it easy.
Do you know when the planning board meeting is?
They've been having, I don't know when this planning board meeting is, but they've been having their meetings every Monday,
Yeah.
as opposed to every other.
They're not going to planning board yet, though, right?
The other one.
Not on this
The
one,
other
but on
one.
the other one. When are, you got these guys start, what's your next time with planning?
Well, that's the thing, we're waiting for this meeting, so now I'm gonna send an email to Kathy tomorrow and say, when can we?
Okay, so they don't know. There's 2 things you can do though. Planning board does, or the agendas loosely are posted either on,
They're on the website.
the
On
website,
the
town
calendar.
clerk, and then,
Or,
right, so you don't have to come here. You could actually look on the website. I think under the town clerk or under planning.
Yeah, they're pretty good at that, yeah.
And they usually have what's on the agenda, right?
Yeah, they're pretty good at that.
Yeah, they're pretty good about putting that on there. Okay,
Okay, fair enough.
all right. Thank you, and I'm sorry that we,
It's okay. 7:30 again, right?
7:30.
this is 7:30,
It should be
because the other one is
7:15,
7:15, and that should be fast. Exactly, okay.
I just wanted to ask the board a question. I'm just gonna go talk to him for like 1 minute and then get back.
Okay.
Are you going to adjourn anything, or do you have?
No, we have a couple of things that we
Oh,
need to
sorry,
go
I'll get
over,
back to it.
so you should be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
need a motion on that?
Do we need
Oh,
to
we
reschedule?
do need, can I have a motion to continue
Motion
until?
to continue Cutler Road extension till 7:30 on February 13th. February 13th.
Okay, second? All in favor?
And I can make that meeting.
You can't make that
I
meeting?
can.
All right.
I work in the
Thank you.
so I'll be set. I'm scheduled to work in it. It shouldn't change.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Good
thanks.
night again.
We'll see you. Oh, thank you. Oh, those excellent cookies, thank you. I'll share.
You need to get your biorhythms back up.
Cookies always do that.
See ya.
See you Monday.
Yeah, and if I get that video from Bobby,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
he's still shoveling, he's still filling sandbags.
Oh my gosh. Oh, because of all the water that's over there.
Yeah, his son's house is, the driveway is washed out, the front yard is a pond.
It's bad. Those are the pictures I sent you.
Right. So he has pictures and video and
He has
stuff.
video.
Nice.
He has a lot
It's
of video.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's been working shoveling all day.
Right. A little cut is going to do wonders for that area.
That was a field.
Oh, it was?
That wasn't a forest.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, some of it was cut, but
Yeah, they cut some.
they definitely cut
Well,
some.
just the water that's coming off that front field through our culvert, it looks like a torrent. Expect to see surfers coming down.
Oh, my
Here we are,
God.
January, the front field between us and the road. It's unbelievable, and that's flat. I can't imagine. Get the pond view boats ready.
Exactly.
No, that's up on
Little restaurant.
Little Restaurant, up on the top, on the flat.
Right by the old chicken coop, right by Rover.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's that area where they cut all the trees up in there.
I'm going to give this back to you because we're not going to do that this time.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but we will next time.
But I'll
So,
leave it here, so I'll have it with me.
right, exactly. So you have a couple of things that I pulled from your.
Right, the Kathy gave me.
Yeah,
Kathy gave me
exactly.
this stuff. And this as well. These two came in this weekend, yes, that she folded, these two big ones here. That I think she just did yesterday. This she had given me beginning of this week.
Okay. All right, town of Warren, application application for approval for preliminary plan, Carfa, Little Rest Road. They've been reviewing this for a while, right?
Yeah, but those two plans she just got yesterday. She was folding those up.
Where is it?
This is across the street. This is Nielsen's.
What do you mean it's across the street?
Remember the original one?
What? They're doing another one on Little?
Remember the original one that didn't go through? CPT was doing?
Oh, right.
I think that's what that is.
And this is on Little Rest Road.
What?
I heard some.
What?
My stepmother was telling me there was something going on behind the scenes. Maybe somebody was trying to buy some land back there.
Whoa.
I bet you that's what that is.
Really?
When did that come in?
Well, gosh. 116, the day before. Well, does that mean that we get, because it was all wetlands? You guys want to come over and take a look? All right.
Not Little Rest Road. Where's north? Where's south?
Well, north. Here's Scott and Barbara. This is,
No, where is it?
all right, let's look at the other. Yeah, that came with it. I mean, this is showing, 0 Brimfield. What is this? Town.
Good look at the utilities.
Brimfield Road. Oh, this is that other one. This is the other one. This is the one you called me about down by my house.
Pleasant Street? No, the one in
No.
between.
This is, it's not on Lorest Road, it's on Brimfield Road. It's almost, this is Brimfield.
No, no, no.
This is Earthwell's farm. I know what this is.
There was one that was in between,
This is,
Dunham Road and,
this is not, this,
that's another one then.
this go past my house.
Towards Horseman or away from, which way?
Go to Brimfield. Here's the Brimfield town line right here.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Right
understand
here.
these two.
Earthwell's farm, you know where Earthwell's farm?
Oh, no, but I kinda know.
Well, you know
what
where,
mean.
you know where Joaquin,
Yeah, Joaquin
this is
Road.
it,
It's right across at the end of that?
yeah. So
What's the
Yeah,
circle?
this is
thing?
different than the one that I had.
that's a, this, they're saying they're gonna do a subdivision.
Oh,
right
that's
away.
your proposed.
All right, hold it. Is this
Okay.
Sinkum?
Sincarfa?
Is
No,
it?
this is a survey.
Oh, this is something else.
This is Sincarfa.
Okay, so this is Sincarfa.
Sincarfa is, that's the one behind Trombley's.
Find one,